So I want to get back to this process from identifying your money story and then realizing that's your money identity and personality once you've identified that story. And once you've realized, okay, this is my identity, this is my personality, and this is how I make decisions day to day, or this is how, when money comes in my bank account, I feel something. I either feel excited, I feel anxious, I feel avoidance. I have this attachment style to money.
Yeah.
How do we break free of an attachment style to money that is harming us so that when money comes and goes, it flows. It feels good as opposed to anxious, avoidant, or stressed emotions? Because growing up, I had a lot of anxiety around money.
Same, yeah.
And now when money comes to me, I say thank you. I appreciate it. I don't care if it's a penny or $100,000 that comes in the bank. I'm like, thank you. And I learned this from my friend Ken Honda. He said, when money comes to you, ask it where it wants to go. He said, where do you want to go? Do you want to go towards food? Do you want to go towards rent? Do you want to go towards giving it to people for free? Do you want to go towards investing in something? Where do you want it to go? And I like that philosophy of like just paying attention of where you want it to go. What else would you say that we should be considering around when money enters our account or it comes in our hands? What should we think and what should we do with the next steps?
Yeah, you kind of touched on it. I think that one belief I would encourage people to consider that would help with the receiving is the belief that you're a steward of it.
Oh, okay. Some people can't receive money that well, right?
No,
it's hard for them to let someone pay for them for a meal or to take money.
Not only that, they stress themselves out. If I put $1 million in a lot of people's bank accounts, they'd be worried that somebody's going to rob them tomorrow. Wow. They'd be worried that they're going to mess it up and the government's going to say, you now owe us $2 million. Like there's so much angst around receiving. And one of the big ideas that
is that a worthiness conversation? Is that a value conversation? Why is there angst around receiving?
I think it's a fear of not knowing, right? Because it's new. A lot of people, I call them factor of 10 problems. Most people start with $10 problems, and those are meaningful back then, right? Cell phone bills, a little extra, and you're like, whoa, and you're calling up and you're spending 3 hours trying to get that $10 back.
Yeah.
And then we go to $100 problems, right? And then $1,000 problems. And if you think about the mindset to the degree that we can become comfortable with bigger quality problems. I remember Oprah one time, she was being sued by the Mad Cow people because of something she said on the show for $1 billion. And somebody interviewed her and said, Oprah, like, how do you sleep at night? You're being sued for your whole life's work, your whole net worth. And she said, I'm just grateful to be the kind of person that could be sued for $1 billion.
Wow.
Huh. She got really comfortable with receiving and being. So I think that the first idea is to understand that it's not ours. That
money is not ours.
Nothing's ours. I mean, I love that you bought a new house.
Eventually, when I leave, it's not mine.
It will, and there could be exactly. So if we actually just get into the headspace that everything we've created in our life, there's a lot of like it's not permanent. Then all of a sudden, like you said, it's where does it want to go? How do we want to use to shape it? How do we use it to help other people? Right? We're stewards of it. If you see other people that are rich and you're upset that evil people, and you're like, they're rich, then go be rich. Take that resource and deploy it the way you want. So I think the way I look at it is money coming into my life is a byproduct of the value that I created. Right? So if I want to have a bigger impact, I want to do more good. I want to create more. Even as an artist, in the book, I talk about Andy Warhol and how he created the factory and he had teams of people supporting his art. He decided, I'm going to use this resource to do more. And I think that when you correlate that, and I think that's why tithing for a lot of religion is really important. Like I follow the same process and I believe you do as well. Like when you get money and you know that money is going to help people. For example, my buddy Mark, he came to my house one day and he's like, dude, I have money mindset problems. I just can't charge, $5,000 for what I do. And we're sitting in my sunroom. And I said, interesting. I knew he was a person of faith. And I said, what? I think he was charging 2. And he knew he should be charging 5 because everybody else charged 5. But he just felt guilty about it. I said, well, what if you knew that every dollar you made, 10% of your income went to your church? Dude, I saw his whole body.
Meaning shifted, yeah.
He lit up. I want to charge 10.
Right.
Of course you do.
Right.
Because he aligned his desire to serve. Wow. Right. And I just thought that was just a beautiful way to think about what beliefs I have around money. Now, it doesn't solve it. It doesn't fix the skill problem. You got to become more skillful and more valuable, but it helps you receive, because you know that as I receive, it's not mine anyways. I don't have to protect it. I don't have to worry about losing it. And it's now a resource that I get to use to then go create other things I want to see in the world. And ideally, hopefully, it's to help people.
When someone hoards their money, what are they saying?
They're saying to the universe that it's fixed, that I won't get any more, and I better protect it.
Wow.
And typically those people cannot live a fulfilled life.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much should we, I mean, we live in a material world, and there could be challenges in the future. So how much money should we be putting aside of the money we're bringing in for paying our bills and expenses in the future, and making sure that we're not day to day?
This is the stats, because I'm a data numbers guy. If you look at the worst case scenario, and we kind of went through it with the global pandemic, it may be a year at most. Most financial experts will say you should have 6 months of overhead expenses set aside, available, liquid. That way, if you ever had to restructure your business, or you got laid off, or whatever happened, you could weather that storm. Because that's about it. And, and some experts will say in the business side, it's about 3 months of operating expenses, 6 months. Some say a year. I think that's a lot. But let's say worst case, everything else above that is really about, okay, what's the allocation? Do you want to invest for the future? Do you want to set budgets aside for creating experiences? And I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer, because I think depending on the situation, how old somebody is, they might want to, I love the book Die with Zero. I think you've had the author on. Yeah. Super cool book, because the philosophy of actually designing the leverage, because he talks about the go-go years, the slow-go years, and the no-go years, right? So like if I have money, especially if you have kids, there's 2 concepts from the book that I thought were phenomenal. One is, if you want to bless your children, bless them when they're younger. When, for example, as soon as I read the book, I called my dad. I said, Dad, do you have any desire to leave money to my sister? And he goes, yes. I said, you should give it to her now.
Why?
It'll have way more value to her now when the kids are teenagers in regards to the life decisions she can make and experiences than when she's 60. Think about it. An extra $100,000 or whatever the number is at 27 years old will have a completely different impact on your life than at 57 years old. And unfortunately, a lot of parents that want to gift their children, they wait till the end of their life and they don't do it. And he talks about it, that you want to do this when they're around the perfect ages, like 27, 28. So that was one big idea. Wow. The other one is, people,
and the memory dividend of it, right? Like you get to experience it, and you get to have those memories for the rest of your life.
And you're alive.
Yes.
What a crazy idea.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you can actually see it in their eyes, like, oh my gosh. And you see the impact it had, not after you're not here anymore. Right. And the other one was that when whatever age you want to say you retire, I'm not a big fan of retirement, but that there's the go-go years, right? 50 to 60 or 65. And then there's the slow-go years. So and then there's the no-go years. The no-go years are like 75 plus.
You're not moving much.
No. So most people don't realize that the amount of money they save for retirement, you can buy insurance in case you're worried that it's going to run out. So that protects you on the upside that you live to 100. But you're not doing a whole lot of backcountry skiing.
Yeah, you're not traveling.
At 70. For most people, every once in a while.
Maybe on a cruise or something.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, you're 82 on the back mountains. But I just think that a lot of people worry about accumulating for, again, it's anything to extremities. It goes back to, if the primary reason you're making this decision is only for money, then that's where you feel a prisoner of your money.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter if you have $10 in your pockets or 100. It's a big idea. I know a lot of really wealthy people, and they are prisoners of their wealth.
Really?
Yes. That unfortunately is the norm.
What will make someone a prisoner of their wealth?
If every time they make a decision, they're always thinking about what it cost. It's not what it's cost. It's what it's worth.
So what is it? Break that down.
There's a difference.
How should we be thinking about it? Cost versus worth.
I mean, think about, okay, I could go on this trip and it would cost me $10,000.
Right. And they're thinking, man, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. But the experience of bringing your children, especially if they're like 17, 18, you don't have a lot of, like most people don't realize this. It's so like the life is, I think that if everybody just got really comfortable about how they're not going to be here forever, and that this time, like, dude, today I don't get today back. I plan my life in 5-year increments. I think it's enough time to do something meaningful, not too little time to be wasteful.
Yeah.
And I feel like if every year I sit down, I reset for another 5 years, and I try to figure out, like, okay, so we do, for example, we just got finished doing a vacation with 18 of my siblings and my nieces and nephews. That's a trip that my brother and I finance for the whole family.
Sure, yeah.
We do it on a ski hill, all
hotels,
of it. Yeah, one house, 18 of us, side of a mountain.
Yeah.
We do it once every 2 years.
Food.
And it is the best. So cost-wise, big number.
Big.
Worth, dude, take everything. Take the McLaren. You know what I mean? Like, take the jet. That's not important to me.
Wow. That 1 week together is like.
If you ask somebody, they had 2 weeks to live.
Yeah.
And you couldn't tell anybody else, what would you do at your time?
Sure.
They would get on in a one house,
of course,
with their family members, pour into them to the degree they could.
Wow.
And then the last day, they'd have to say goodbye.
Yeah.